Hey guys, this is Lashetta from Scarlet Moon Creations, and this is day 3 of Booktube Spirit Week, and if you cannot tell, it is Tacky Day. Am I tacky enough for ya? Yeah. I want to quickly get through this because the makeup is irritating me already. So let's do this. The tag I plan to do for today, I think, is suitably tacky. It is the no preparation tag. Today is the no preparation book tag. I think being unprepared and tackiness go hand in hand in some way. Though obviously to be this purposefully tacky, one has to prepare. But what are you gonna do? Wow, why does this make him not look as bad on this camera anyway? This tag, I don't know who the original creator is. I was not able to find them, but I heard about this tag thanks to Becca and the books. This is, again, another old tag, so whatever. The point is, you put in to YouTube search original tag, and sort things by the most recent, and then you do the tag that comes up first, and you do it with no preparation. I will add a caveat for myself because I don't have bookshelves. I don't have my books like easily accessible. Any tags where I have to run around and get books, I probably won't do, but we'll see how it goes. I might have some time. If I don't find a tag that really works out for me and this, I will be doing the plan with me tag, because another definition for tacky is sticky, and I have lots of planner stickers, even though I don't plan like that. So let's get into it. I've got my tablet. I'll put in original tag in the search, and then let me sort to, let's go with this month. Oh, the Hijacked book tag by Cynthia Payne. Let's see. Cynthia Payne and Tamok Soul, street author.
Hi y'all. So today I'm going to be doing the Hijacked book tag. So my friend Tamok Soul and...
Alright, so this is a cool tag. It was one that I'm able to do with the books that I have within easy grasp. So let's get started. This is really interesting. I like the questions on this tag. So shout outs to Cynthia Payne and to Tamok Soul, I think I'm pronouncing that right, for creating this tag. Their videos went up on the 29th and 31st of December. So do check out this tag. Links in the description down below. So the first question, a book that changed your mind about something. This is going to be the same for question number 2, which is a book that showed you a world you didn't know existed. And instead of getting 2 separate books with the same focus, I decided just to go with this one, The Idiot's Guide to Wicca and Witchcraft. The other book I would have gotten for the first question was Everything Paganism book or something like that. So for the longest time, I've been a fan of fantasy books, and I really like magic in them, magic systems. I also had, especially in high school, really been narrowing down, liking witches and elemental magic and that kind of thing. And it dawned on me one day because one of the authors for one of my favorite series, I was reading her tweets or her blog or something like that, and she was mentioning how she does some pagan practices, and I was like, is this real? Like, there's really, like, witchcraft in today's world as a thing. And so I took myself to Barnes and Noble after Googling a little bit to see where I could find some books, because books hold all information, right? Like, that's how I learn things. And I got this, and I still own this I got in the early 2000s. I think I was in college, so 2003, 2004 maybe, and I still own this because it's still a good foundation, with good information. So thank you for the authors of that book. Next question. 3, a plot twist you didn't see coming. So this was hard. I wasn't sure what I wasn't sure plot twist, but I don't know if this is exactly a plot twist, but I was talking about this in another video, in my best of video, which will come out later or next week. And I Mistborn, the Final Empire, like, with Kelsier, did not see that coming at all. Like, I was within, and no. Also, because, I don't know if this is a spoiler, but I thought he was the main character. Like, he was our protagonist. So, I felt kind of betrayed. So yeah, there's that. Question number 4. A book you wouldn't have read but got hijacked into reading by a friend. So, technically, not technically. Technically, I got hijacked for this. I don't get a lot of books from other people. So, not even as gifts. So that didn't never really happen to me. I have one from a friend, but it's like in a suitcase that's behind another suitcase that's under 2 boxes, so not happening. But I've got this Jane Ann Krentz Gift of Gold. This was somewhat of a gift from my aunt, and the reason it fits is because she used to, like, go to her local churches in Pennsylvania and I guess thrift stores and garage sales or whatever, and pick up books. And then some she would like, others she wouldn't. She would just have tons and be like, hey, Lachette, here's a bag of books. And it'd be like a garbage bag full of books. And at the time I was in in high school. And this was definitely one of the books in there. I didn't really read romance novels, especially not adult romance. Not that YA really existed, but I didn't read that until that's what she started giving me, because that's what she had. So, yeah. Next question. How do you hijack yourself into reading outside of your comfort zone? So, I don't, but I do, I guess. I am a really, like, the only way I could think of this is a go with the flow reader. So if I'm interested in something, then I'll pick it up and read it, or I'll find a book and read it. I'm always wanting to read. constantly. If I'm not reading a book, I'm on a website, on a web page, going down the internet whole, just learning something. My comfort zone is fiction, romance and fantasy, specifically because those are comfort reads. Like, that's what I read in my bed and stuff like that. But I'm also a person who likes to know things. I like to learn. I like to suck in information constantly. It's very like a need that I have, and the way I grew up, how I fed that need was by reading. So technically outside my comfort zone is nonfiction, stuff that I just want to know about, like how does that work, and how do people do this, and what's this culture like, whatever. And if I don't just grab a book when I'm thinking about it, then I won't have that knowledge, and it'll bug me, or I'll forget, and then it'll come back and I'm just like, why don't I know this? So some examples are Quiet by Susan Cain. Basically she's talking about being an introvert and giving some advice, I guess, along with anecdotes about how to be an introvert in an extroverted expectation society. That was all the wrong tense, but you know what I'm saying. In a society where people are expected to be or act extroverted. And yeah, I was going through a phase, or not a phase, but I was going through a time where I was, I guess, questioning my identity and why certain things about me might seem different from others, and what I could do about it. I heard about this and I was like, oh, and then like literally a week after, I think I saw like a interview or something, or some talk show talking about this book very briefly. I was on a business trip with my boss, who is an author, like a nonfiction author about sciences. We were on a book tour. I was in, yep, in Powells. So we were in Seattle, I think, and I think that's where Powell's is. And I was like, oh, there's that book that I just saw on TV. You know what? I'm interested. I want to know what she has to say. So grab. That's how I do it. Another business trip with that same former boss. I picked this up, American Gods. I had heard about it. I think somebody recommended it, kind of, because I'm pagan, and you know, there's a lot of talk about, this is fiction, but there's a lot of talk about the kind of immigration of culture and spirituality and gods into America and what happens to them. And so this is nothing like anything I've ever read, and nothing like anything I would ever think of reading, but I saw it in the airport, I think, so I overpaid for this, and yeah, grabbed it. That's how I do that. Next up, question number 6: a fictional book you wish wasn't fiction. So this is hard. There's no one book. Sorry, books are falling. There's no one book where I'm like, I would love every aspect of it to be real. But at least that's how I'm interpreting this question. I didn't watch the video. You're not supposed to in the no preparations tag. But, excuse me, I would focus on the world in general, not necessarily the characters, though there are certain characters in both of these I wouldn't mind being real. So first up, and I'm talking about the series in general, not necessarily this specific book, though this is a favorite from this series. This is the Dresden Files by Jim Butcher, if I can get it to show without being shiny. This is the second book in the series because I had it out. And the Dresden Files is an urban fantasy, so not too outside of what we currently are going through. It's set in a modern day Chicago, and wizards are real, as are vampires, as are werewolves, as are the Fae. But the average everyday person isn't aware of all of these things. But I love the magic system. The idea of Harry Dresden existing for real, though he goes through a lot of shit in this series. I feel bad for poor old Harry. But the idea of this PI wizard existing in Chicago is pretty damn cool to me. And I the werewolves and the vampires and the fae aren't all nice, or even the whole wizard community is not very pleasant, but the way they're structured, their hierarchy, the how they work, the vampires are all different. They have different clans, and that's one of my favorite parts of this. It's an I think it would be cool. The other one is one of my favorite series of all time, as you can tell from the Falling Apart book, the Anita Blake series, another urban fantasy. This is book 1 by Laurel K. Hamilton. Like I said, another urban fantasy set in St. Louis. Again, werewolves, and other shifters, where other were animals, and vampires exist, as does things like necromancy and the Fae to an extent. In this world, everybody knows these beings exist because they've come out in a sense. Now, one of the huge things I love about this series is the fact that the government is trying to find ways to work with these citizens. So like vampires are citizens where animals are citizens, but there's also like prejudices. So like a lot of where animals happen to be predators, and most people won't accept them in certain types of jobs. So we have a werewolf who's hiding that he's a werewolf because he's a school teacher to young children. We have another were animal who was fired from his job after being bitten unsolicitedly. He was attacked and turned into a were animal, and he was fired from his job as a butcher because they were worried he would contaminate the meat, which, the way the rules work in this series, that's not possible. So there's people hiding, and then with vampires, the churches, excommunicated them because once you die, you pass on, and so like they are unnatural. But now there's a vampire church, and so that's interesting. There are various laws being put into place and adjusted as time goes by for how do you punish these supernatural people when they commit a crime. Like, you can't jail them because they're too strong, stuff like that. And you don't want to kill them for petty larceny, because that's overkill. So yeah, I wouldn't mind this world existing. Interrelations between regular humans and the supernatural is very interesting as well on various levels. So not too different from the current world we have, but a little bit extra. Next question. A nonfiction book you wish was fiction. I don't own this book. I haven't read it. I don't know what I would say for this. There, I guess any book where it's focused on an accounting of someone being raped, abused, or stuff like focus on the Black Lives Matter movement. Not that I don't wish the movement didn't exist, but the reason for it. Nonfiction books about people of color being unlawfully incarcerated. This the story of the Central Park Five. I forget what the name of that book is. I'll put it up on the screen if I remember when editing. But if those things were fiction, if they never were true, I would appreciate that. Things about the Holocaust. There's things where human beings are harming other human beings just for being who they are. All of those books, if they were fiction, if they weren't based on true things happening, I would greatly appreciate that. Question number 8. A book you own that was hijacked by someone, or a book you hijacked from someone else. So I kind of have this like exchange thing. I exchanged some books with a friend of mine, or a former friend, several years ago, and our friendship broke apart while we had each other's books, and we haven't seen each other since. So an example of the book one of the books that she borrowed from me is the Big Blue Book, and it's a popular book about Wicca and witchcraft in the Wiccan community, at least. And I'd like to have it back. It was one of the first ones I got, other than that general idiot's guide thing. And one of the books that I still have from her is this. At the time, I was looking into more in-depth things about connected to ceremonial magic, and which is also part of Wicca and other witchcraft traditions. But so yeah, the Kabbalah is something that pops up in witchcraft and also in divination to an extent. This book is by Adolf Frank, and so yeah, definitely hijacking going on there. Question number 9 is a two-parter. A book that was hijacked in the middle of you reading it, and did you ever get it back to finish it? I honestly cannot think of a book that was hijacked, except for maybe by the library, but that's been so long because I have finessed my library skills. I've gotten better at remembering when the due date is and then renewing if I can. But let me think for a second. So I just remembered the bullet journal method by Ryder Carroll I read earlier in 2019. I had started it, I think, in February, but I got to a point where I realized, oh, there's like exercises in this to do, and I hemmed and hawed and was like, do I want to do the exercises or just read through the book? And then the due date came from the library, so I sent it back, and I then got it out again for One Book July, since the One Book July 2019 was focused on the bullet journal method. So I was prepared that time. I knew there were exercises, and One Book July was a good time to focus on that. So I did it. I did complete the book at that time. Now, number 10. Hijack some friends. Tag at least 3 fellow booktubers to do this tag. So I'm going to tag Etu Brody, who is one of the hosts for Booktube Spirit Week. I'm also going to tag the other host, Carrie the Book Bell, because she's cool and awesome, and why not? And I'm going to tag, I'm trying to think of somebody who would do this. And Pages and Pens, Julie. Lastly, I'll tag Yogi with a book. I'll put them down below and tweet to them or whatever. Thank you guys so much for watching my Tacky Wednesday video for Booktube Spirit Week. I hope you enjoy my outfit. Please give me lots of compliments and your thoughts. And do check out this tag, the Hijacked book tag. That was fun. That was cool. It was different. And I really appreciate it. Now I'm going to go watch the videos now that I've done my part. And the Plan With Me tag will have to happen another time. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Click the like button if you liked it. Subscribe if you're looking for more bookish content. My Booktube Spirit Week shall continue. And then followed up with the last of my annual bookish content. So if you're looking for more book videos that I've already done, you can find them all in the Magical Librarian playlist. Thanks so much for watching. Stay tacky. Bye.